Can't stop me cause I'm all grind. I'm all grind. Can't block me cause I'm gon' shine. I'm gon' shine. Do the greatest shit of all time. Of all time. I'm feeling like I'm shooting. Play perfect like I'm shooting. Put working like I'm shooting. Undefeated like I'm shooting. Play perfect like I'm strategize. Stay corporate with a savage side. It ain't about winning, it can't have my time. I got no time, I only focus on the bottom line. I gotta grind. Strategize. Stay corporate with a savage side. It ain't about winning, it can't have my time. I got no time, I only focus on the bottom line. I gotta grind like Shula. Playing for perfection like Shula. Running with the winners, no losers. We are not the same, don't confuse us. We are not the same, don't confuse us. Playing for perfection like Shula. Running with the winners, no losers. We are not the same, don't confuse us. Don't confuse us. Hard times. Can't stop me cause I'm all grind. Can't block me cause I'm gon' shine. Do the greatest shit of all time. I'm feeling like I'm shooting. Play perfect like I'm shooting. Put working like I'm shooting. Undefeated like I'm shooting. Play perfect like I'm shooting. Hard times, can't stop me cause I'm all grind. Can't block me cause I'm gon' shine. Do the greatest shit of all time. I'm feeling like I'm shooting. Play perfect like I'm shooting. Put working like I'm shooting. Undefeated like I'm shooting. Play perfect like I'm shooting.
Who that? So low. So low. Rest in peace, Don Shula. Still perfect.
Let me see you just. If you want a water, let me see you just. If you had the hard ride, let me see you just. Get some space, kinda.
Waddle with it. 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 Waddle with it.
That's first down. Yeah. That's touchdown. Yeah. You want more? Yeah. Hey, Dolphins, won't you throw it up? You in that east side, gon' throw it up. What about that west side? Gon' throw it up. Over in that yellow line, gon' throw it up. Won't you throw it up? If you down with them fans, let me see you jump. If you want a water, let me see you jump. If you had the hard ride, let me see you jump.
Do that water. Shake it.
If you down with them fans, let me see you jump. If you want a water, let me see you jump. If you had the hard ride, let me see you jump.
Do that water. Shake it.
Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it. Waddle with it.
That's first down. Yeah. That's touchdown. Yeah. You want more? Yeah.
Shake it, shake it.
Who that?
So low, so low, so low deep.
Hey guys, I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, The Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club.
I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it, 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 run it.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D, and we are live. That's right, we're live. We're live on this beautiful Throwback Thursday. Super excited that y'all are hanging out with me right here on the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. I am your host, Stephen D. I want to say good morning to my Fins family, my Fin-laws. What is up? How y'all doing? It is Throwback Thursday in the building. All right, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? I'm excited. Von 954 says I need that video for that waddle dance, and I need it on the jumbo screens jumbo screen at the games ASAP. Yes, it would be. I would definitely. Stephen D in the house. Yes, I am. Sway 2387. I am in the building. Hey, before I get into anything, I just want to say, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. What are you doing if you haven't done it? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Come on. Let's go. It doesn't cost you a dime to hit the like button. And what I really want you to do is hit the share button and go on Facebook or Twitter. Tag me, your boy, Stephen D. SKPL, and Miami Sports Music. Instagram. Say, hey, look, there's this really cool guy. His name is Stephen D. He's got this show called Clock Blockers. Guys, come on. Ladies, come on. Need your help. Got to help the show grow, and I can't do it without you. Start tagging people that are Dolphin fans or Miami Heat fans or just fans of sports in general. Okay? Okay, guys? All right. Hey, if you want to sign up, become a member today. There's a seat waiting for you at the table. Sign up, become a new YouTube member today. There's different tiers, and we are waiting for you. We'd love to have you on. It's awesome. Yes. Alexander said, flip-floppers, you already know. I embrace it. I embrace it here. I embrace it. Stephen is lying. He don't love Big John. I'm going to unsubscribe. Don't do that, Big John. Please don't do that. You know I love you. You know I love you. Stephen D called that Urban Meyer will not last the season. I did. I appreciate that, Alexander, that you remembered that. Yes. Sway2387. Also, people comment on the video. It's done. It helps out. Yes. I like it. Steven likes the thumbs up and middle fingers too. See, I should give you the swear jar this morning. That's the fin. Y'all are messing with me this morning. That's okay. Hey, look, if you want to donate to the channel, help the channel grow, I don't care if it's $1. It all goes to helping the channel grow. There's 3 different ways you can do it. You can use the YouTube live super chat, which is right there, right there. Yeah. It's the $sign down at the bottom of the chat. Make sure you guys use that. Or the preferred way, if you are able to, use PayPal or Cash App. Right? PayPal is MSM Podcast Network, and Cash App is $MSM Podcast Network. Those are the preferred ways to donate. They take out less fees, and it's just you get the money obviously a lot quicker to do it that way to help the channel grow. So if you're able to do those two ways, that are great. But hey, if not, we do take YouTube live super chat. I ain't mad at you if you do it. Hey, Tailgreeter is our sponsor of the show. Big shout out to Tailgreeter. The bowl game is tomorrow for them in Orlando, Florida. The Tailgreeter Cure Bowl. Super excited for them. They got a lot of cool things going on. Make sure you go to tailgreeter.com or download the app today. And if you guys want to come see me on Sunday at the tailgate in Miami, make sure you go to tailgreeter.com, download the app, put in East 32 Dolphins tailgate, and come hang out with your boy. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely want to see you there. All right. Caddyshack, look at you. I see you sharing on Twitter here. I'm even going to retweet it too. I like it. Thank you, Caddyshack, for retweeting the link. My guy. Appreciate it. Hey, look. Just want to say thank you. Hey, if we are doing a podcast raffle, there's 10 slots left. $25 per slot. A portion of all the money raised will go towards TPP for the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. So make sure that you guys, when you sign up, you do that. Okay. So, yeah. First place will get a autographed Frank Gore Miami Dolphins jersey. Second place will get an autographed Ricky Williams 8x11 Heisman Trophy. Both are JSA certified. They come with JSA certifications. And they were donated on behalf of Fan Club Weekend and Sinbad Sports. So shout out to both of them. I know Sinbad's got some really cool stuff. I like it. All right. What is up? What's going on this morning? I wanted to get into this before we get into the Dolphins talk and everything. There was a few things that I wanted to talk about this morning that is not necessarily Miami related, but it is sports related, and I think it's a big enough news story, and we're a sports show, and we should talk about it. Okay? Let's see here. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Let's see who's in the chat this morning. I'm going to go start from the top. Chef Zhu is in the building. Said subscribe, like, share, donate, and become a member today. Your seat is waiting for you. Join the fam. Trucker Sean is in the building. Big John Stud 007. We love you, Big John. Trucker Sean 1981. Stetson. Caddyshack. I appreciate the love, Caddyshack, on Twitter. Pete's DFS takes. Pete. God love you, man. I do. Let's see here. What else we got? We got Big John Stud, Pete's Chef Zhu. I already said Chef Zhu. Who else is in here? Andrew Harris. What's up, Andrew? Obi's in the building. Solo D's a legend, Estefan said. No lies were told in that. Sway2387. Von954 is in the building. Who else we got up in here? Pat's on top. Hey, Pat's on top. Welcome to the channel. Feel free to hate on us. It's okay. We take all the haters. Let's see here. Who else do we have in here this morning? Alexander Renee Diaz is in the building. Joe. What's up, Joe? Who else I got up in here this morning? I'd like to say hello to everybody. Jason Miller. Shout out to California. Fins up SoCal, baby. Love Jason. Just so y'all know, Jason's the man. Jason Miller is the man. And I do love you, Jason, just so you know. Who else I got up in here? I got Tank McBride. I got Bob Young is in the building. Bones. I think that's it. Pete's defunctional takes. I do like that. That's pretty funny. Toby, what's up, Toby? How y'all doing? Shake Money's in the building. Polo's here. What's up, Polo? Polo, you already know, though. All right. Hey, let's get to some of the big news reports that are coming out. They came out at like 1 o'clock in the morning or 12:45 last night. And I thought that they were very interesting. Jaguars fire Urban Meyer after 13 seasons. Look, here's a reality, right? I called this, and as you know, my man Alexander Rene Diaz called it, said, "Hey, Steven called this. I'm telling you, I saw the writing was on the wall. This what I don't think this was rocket science, though, right? This wasn't rocket science. It doesn't take a genius to know that the writing was on the wall for that. Jaguars fire Urban Myers after 13 games. He didn't even make it a full season. Yesterday, there were reports that came out that said he kicked the former kicker of the Jaguars, Josh Lambo, during stretches. It's crazy. Did I say seasons? I said after 13 games. I'm sorry, 13 games. You knew what I meant, Big Drip. Yeah, man. Look, here's the reality. There are some coaches that are made for college football, and there are some that are made for NFL. And I think it's interesting. You go back and look at the Nick Saban days with us. I just think there are some coaches that are just set up to be successful in college and not in the pros. I personally think that Nick Saban with the right front office could have done a better job here. That's neither here or there. I just think that, when you look at Urban Meyer, I think there should have been, I think he thought he was going to come in and dominate in the NFL the way he did in college football, and that's not how it works. Especially when you have one of the worst teams in the league already. You have the number 1 overall pick. You had Trevor Lawrence. It should have been stated from the top, hey, look, we're going to lose this year. And that's okay. But we're going to gain confidence and we're going to try to do the best we can. And then at the same time, there are some coaches that just are not equipped to coach in the NFL. Right? You look at our coach in Flores. Flores, his first year gutted the team, had the worst team of all time on a roster, and then was able to go win, 5 out of his last 7 with the worst roster in the NFL. That team 2 years ago was worse than the 1-15 team that we had years ago. I'm just saying. So it's a reality. And I also, look, I don't want to say karma got to Urban Meyer, but Urban Meyer left so many college coaching jobs saying, hey, my health is not in great shape. I'm going to quit. And then 2 years later, he's on the sidelines of a new college team. Did that with Utah to go to Florida, if I'm correct. Then went to Florida, went to Ohio State. Then left Ohio to go to Jacksonville. Will he be on a sideline again? It'll be on Saturdays, if anything. And I think that's kind of where it's at. So, he's got too many issues going on and can't live under the college umbrella. I see you, D-Dub, in the back. I'm going to bring you on. You can't find those things in NFL kids in college. They're scared, but the NFL has a union and played there, and the job, it's not just school. He told his coaches they effing suck, and he had better coaches at Bowling Green. Caddyshack, was he lying there, though? He didn't need to say it, but was he lying there, though? Jerome Baker said karma caught up with him. Did he say that? Did he really say that? Stephen D, this will be an interesting because Lawrence was an Urban Meyer pick. The new coach that comes in will most likely not stick with Trevor Lawrence. That's not necessarily true. I think that whoever they bring in, the GM, they're basically or the head coach, they're gonna say, are you a Trevor Lawrence fan? I understand there's 32 head coaching jobs. But I think if a coach does not want Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville is adamant about he's the guy of the future, that'll be what it is. That'll be what it is. So basically that. All right, hey D-Dub, you there? Put yourself on camera. I'm gonna bring you on. So each and every Throwback Thursday, I have a co-host. He's doing his thing, but it looks like he's driving. So let me bring on my co-host. I love this man. You guys love him. D-Dub is in the building. What's up, D-Dub?
Good morning. How you doing? Hey,
Good morning.
I'm driving. I'm driving. In fact, I'm driving from South Carolina to Ohio, and it's always a pleasure for a father to have his son take command of certain situations. So my son is driving right now while I get to spend time with you and the MSM fans. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing that's going on right now.
I love it, D-Dub. I love it, man. Even D-Dub's out here traveling, putting in that work with the family and here with us and his Dolphin family. I like it, man. I like it.
Yep.
All right.
Hey,
So
this Urban Meyer thing, okay? I was
what's
listening
your thoughts?
And I can tell you, he's not getting a job no time soon. I mean, even at the college ranks, what AD is going to go to their president and going to be like, hey, I got the perfect guy, Urban Meyer. And the president's going to say, oh, you mean the guy who was on video having finger fun with some girl? The guy who, see the way I said that, right? Finger fun. Okay. You mean the guy who kicked another professional player? And you think I'm going to trust him?
That Josh Lambo story is interesting, right? Like, I feel like that was the icing on the cake, and that's what did it, and that's what got him out the door.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't go around kicking players. Come on. And you think that somebody's going to want to trust their 18-year-old child with somebody with those type of morals? That type of behavior? No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon, bro.
I mean, I think a reality is in college football, though, D-Dub, is you see coaches come in and you see AD say, we need something to turn this program around. So I do think that I don't think it'll be this year. I think Urban Meyer will take a year off. I really do. But I could 100% see, not this coming up next football season, but the following one, so 2023, I could see an AD saying, hey, let's give Urban Meyer another shot. Because, I mean, look, in college football, he's a winner. He's a proven winner in college football.
You know what? He may have won, but part of being a college coach is also developing characters and developing citizens. There's no way that he's going to be put in that position. At least I don't think so. I wouldn't want my son to be getting any mentorship from someone like that.
Hey, I don't blame you. And I think that's a great segue to talk about a college coach who is a good mentor. Coach Prime. Deion Sanders making headlines yesterday. Let me share the screen on this. So yesterday, the headline is Travis Hunter, the #1 high school recruit in the country, lands at Jackson State University. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of Coach Prime and what he's doing at HBCUs. And I said, and I've been on record on this show as saying this, that that Coach Prime is changing the landscape of college football. And for him to get the #1 high school recruit in the country, I mean, it's something else. It is something else right now that he's able to do that. So I'm really excited that he was able to do that. It's very interesting. So, D-Dub, what are your thoughts about Travis Hunter, joining the HBCU and picking Jackson State over Florida State?
My thoughts are this. This is a great event for Jackson State. It is a beneficial event for Ty Willingham. It's a great event for Eddie George. It's a great event
Jerry
for
Rice.
Jackson. All those college coaches at HBCUs are going to benefit from this. Yeah. And they're all former NFL players. And guess what? He's going to play both ways.
Corner and wide receiver. Yep, corner and wide receiver.
And Prime, I just heard an interview with Prime early this morning on Keyshawn, Jay, and Will, and Max. But he said he didn't do anything out of the ordinary to get this kid. He just talked straight what the benefits of being at Jackson State are. He didn't offer him any. People were throwing out rumors that they offered him extra money and all this. Nah, Prime just related to the kid, and most importantly, related to the parents. What he was going to be able to do for that kid.
I think you bring up a really, really great point because shout out to Pete and his $5 donation. If you guys want to donate using the YouTube Live Super Chat button, which is the $sign down at the bottom of the chat. But what I think it's funny. So Lane Kiffin, speaking of college coaches who have gotten second, third, and fourth chances, Lane Kiffin, who is the head coach at Ole Miss, came out in press conference 2 or 3 days ago and said college football now is free agency. There is free agency in college football because of the NIL deals. And the only difference between that and the pro ranks is in the pros, you're signed to a contract. You're stuck with that team. But in college football, because of how lenient the NCAA's been with this transfer portal now, a kid can leave at any time to go to another program, even if they've gotten all this money for the NIL. Now, I think personally, the NCAA has done a lot into trying to allowing these players to have their name and their likeness. Now, it's not the NCAA. There's people that have pushed for this. It wasn't like they came out of nowhere and put this in on themselves. But at the end of the day, they're not fighting or bucking the system for it. Now, I do think there's some things that need to change about the NIL deals and the transfer portal system. But I love the fact that at the end of the day, Travis Hunter, the number one high school recruit, is going to an HBCU. And I truly think it's going to change the landscape of college football because he won't be the last. And for example, I live up here in Baltimore area, and they have Morgan State University. And Morgan State, and they have Howard, and there's a million HBCUs up here, right? But Morgan State University, I think, is looking for a head coach of their college football team. I don't know if they filled it or not, but there's always whatchamacallit. There's always there's a rumor saying Ed Reed or Ray Lewis could be the head coach. I think if any HBC or any college football is smart, they go out and get somebody that is big in social media, that's very popular, that can also be a mentor to these kids. And they say, hey, look, do you want to come coach our program? Because I'll be honest with you, Deion Sanders might be the most influential. I'm not saying the best. I think he's the most influential coach in the college football right now, besides Nick Saban. Besides Nick Saban, he's the most influential.
Listen, Deion Sanders, Pro Football Hall of Fame football player, as well as baseball, great baseball player. Maybe, when you get to the major leagues, you're at the top of your level.
Yep.
Top of the level. So, what better person to talk to your kid about developing talent and saying, I can develop you. I know what it took to get there. I can develop you. And
he's made mistakes too, right? And so he can help them not make the same mistakes he made. And he's very upfront and open about those mistakes.
Plus the fact, you're talking about somebody who has had a change in his life and has gotten his spirit right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no matter what you believe or don't believe, he believes, and that impacts how he relates to parents.
Yep.
So this guy, with all of the credentials he has, comes into your house and says, I can develop this guy into an NFL player. This is a Hall of Famer. He knows what it is.
And a young man. And a young man that can contribute to society, which I think is great.
He's a great example of what a coach should be able to communicate to kids. And the fact that he's utilizing social media by making sure his players are consistently in social media and not trying to vilify social media, but utilizing it to promote his players. That's another reason why players are wanting to come in. They had 11-1 season, very successful in his first year.
Yep.
What do you think he's going to do with more talent? And even if he doesn't get another a 5-star rated player, suppose he gets like three other number 4s and 7 more number 3s because of this one event that happened with this player. That benefits the program, which benefits the conference, which benefits all HBCUs because they see good play on the field. You can go through the easy pass lane, Xavier.
I agree with you. Real quick, just to answer some of the questions that are in the chat here, Vicken asked, what position does Travis play, Steven? He plays corner and wide receiver. And he's supposedly going to be a two-way player in college. So he's going to play on the offense and defensive side of the ball, at least in the beginning.
Deion said he's going to. He wants them to play 2 ways.
Yep. And I will also say his Deion Sanders' son is the quarterback, who's a 4-star high school recruit, I might add, who's played for him this past year. One of the things that I'm interested to see how college football operates with this is HBCUs. When I'm a head coach at the SEC, I have to fill in some weeks of who I'm going to play. I think it's going to be tough if I'm Ohio State or LSU or Mississippi State or Miami or Florida State or Notre Dame. I don't want to play Jackson State. I don't want to get embarrassed by Jackson State. I think he's going to run in to eventually, whether it's this year or coming up years, an opportunity to play against bigger programs because they're not going to want to play Jackson State. What are your thoughts about that with college football and that whole situation?
Well, first of all, I'm hopeful that Jackson State and Prairie View A&M and Mississippi Valley State, all of those schools get into that situation where certain teams don't want to play them, because maybe instead of not getting that with the game with Ohio State, maybe they can play a game against Utah or SMU or Vanderbilt or Arizona State, because that gives them more coverage and publicity throughout the country. So before we even think about the Ohio States and Alabamas and Michigans, let's get the opportunities with some of the mid-range top conferences. So what I'm saying, like, instead of playing Alabama, like I said, maybe you get a chance to play Vanderbilt. Yeah. And maybe you get a chance to get some talent out of Tennessee. Or maybe you play a Georgia Tech. I mean, Prime would love to have a game against Georgia Tech in Atlanta, where he's from,
or Georgia, or Georgia.
Well, like I said, I'm not even talking about those that's in the top 5, top 10 in the nation. I'm just talking about some other programs that are in some areas where they got talent. So
Yeah.
Georgia Tech in Atlanta, SMU in Texas, or a TCU, or
my question, D-Dub,
Virginia
though.
Tech.
My question, though, D-Dub, is do you think programs are going to shy away from playing Jackson State?
In the long run, yes, but not in the next 2 years. Just because they have one good year this year, 11-1. Now, let's see 5 years from now, once the program is building on and getting some maybe 5 to 10 3-star, 4-star players, how it is. That's when you start getting the fear. Right now, they wouldn't fear it because it's just 1 year. But 5 years from now, that's when you start. They may come up against that. We don't want to take the chance of playing.
You know, and the last thing I'll say about this before we move on to Throwback Thursday, there are a lot of people in the media or fans in general that seem to think Coach Prime is going to leave Jackson State and take the FSU job, whether it's next year or the year after. I'm telling you, I really think he's in at Jackson State for the long haul. And I think he's in at Jackson State for the long haul because he sees the impact that he's making at HBCU. If he were to leave to go coach at FSU, I would think it would be such a detriment to HBCU. And whether that's fair to Prime or not, I think Prime now has it on his shoulders to help build up the HBCU football programs. And I think he's a trendsetter. I think he's a pioneer in it. And he's going to and my hope is that he contacts some of these college former NFL players and say, hey, you want to coach? Come down to these HBCUs. Let's build up these programs. Let's make our league one of the best leagues in college football by just being better. And we don't have to worry about scheduling better games because the talent in our league is better. But I truly think Deion is going to stay at Jackson State for a long time to come.
So I'm going to refer back to the interview that he did this morning with Keyshawn, Max, and Jay Will. He stated it is, even though Prime has always been about the money, and that's his theme song, must be the money, instead of must be the music. But he's at a point in his life where the dollars don't impact where he goes. He wants to do something, like you were saying, that impacts people, that impacts players. That's why he said right now that's not something that he's looking for. He admitted that he has had major programs contact him already, and he still is at Jackson State. So he's not going anywhere in the next 3 to 5 years.
I don't think so either. Because I was seeing yesterday, he's just prepping up his team so that when he leaves to go to Florida State, he can transfer all these kids to Florida State. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be at Jackson State for a long time to come. All right. I appreciate you talking about that because it's really important to me that gets media coverage and that gets the respect that it deserves. I want to see it talked about on more podcasts, more talk shows, more morning shows, everything. I think it's such a big thing, and I think it's really important for me to talk about it and bring light to it. So shout out to Coach Prime, shout out to Travis Hunter. I will be rooting from you both from afar, although my wife went to Alcorn State, so we're not supposed to like Jackson State, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm still going to root for Coach Prime.
They got a game coming up this Saturday against South Carolina
the MEAC.
State.
Yep, against the MEAC.
Against the MEAC. Black and the MEAC are playing against each other for the HBCU national championship. Please watch the game. Watch the game. Okay.
I will be. All right. Hey, little news and notes real quick before we go into Throwback Thursday. I was going to fly out tonight to go to Miami so that I could do the show tomorrow at Dirty Sportswear. And I was going to do the bowl game in Boca Raton on Saturday. I will not be at the bowl game now. And it has nothing to do with me or anything. It has to do with logistics that happened from the bowl game and the people and the people that I was going to do stuff with. So I'm still coming down to Florida, but I am not coming till Saturday morning. So I will be doing the show live from my house tomorrow here, which is fine. It gives me an extra day or two with my family, and I'm only going to be in Miami from Saturday morning to Monday morning. So I will be there to. So if you're in the Miami area Saturday night, me and Solo will be hanging out. I don't know where at, but I'm sure we'd love to see you. So if you're going to come and hang out, hey, I'd love to see y'all down in Miami somewhere, and we get to hang out Saturday. It'll be great. So yeah, make sure you guys do that. Also, hey, Monday morning, it's going to be a little bit of a delayed show because I have a flight early in the morning. So we will still have Victory Monday. It just might be at a later time. Or I might have Cameron start out Victory Monday and do it that way. So, but I will let you know because it's going to be Victory Monday. I'm not even worried about that. Hey, let's talk about Throwback Thursday. You ready, D-Dub?
I'm ready, but I got to say one thing. I am right now presently in West Virginia.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama. You might be breaking up.
There you go.
You know what? Out in West Virginia, they might not have those cell phone towers out there.
I just passed one, so there are some.
You're good at least for 20 miles. At least 20 miles.
But Joe Manchin, they need to do better by the people here in West Virginia. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Okay. All right. Hey, look. Miami Dolphins lead the all-time series 56-55. They've been playing against each other since 1966. Now, obviously, the Jets and Dolphins, we talked about them last Throwback Thursday, but it was about the games in the Meadowlands. Today, we're going to talk about games at Hard Rock Stadium. All right? So let's kind of go back. I guess what I want to ask you is, let's start off by first talking about home field advantage. When the Dolphins play any cold weather team, especially in the early months, I always found that the Dolphins had one of the best home field advantages, not because of the atmosphere, but because at 1 o'clock on Sunday in Florida in September and October, that heat is hot. And when you play against teams like Buffalo, New England, and the Jets, they're not used to that kind of heat. So what are your thoughts about having home field advantage? What are your thoughts about having home field advantage? And even it's still going to be like 80 degrees or 75 degrees, which the Jets have been playing in 20-degree weather for the last few weeks.
I'm gonna say it this way. I'd rather play them early for this reason. When you spend that much time in the heat, you're gonna lose body weight.
Yeah.
Which means that you're not gonna be as strong muscle mass wise. And I think that's the reason why late in the season we have hope that from a nutritional and body and conditioning status, the Dolphins have learned to do better than in previous years, because a lot of northern teams during December, they come in, they got all that extra body weight, and they just out physical Dolphins. So that's why I think, yes, it's an advantage early in the season, but late in the season, when you're down here sweating every day for the last 3 months, and some team comes in and they got much more mass, and it's just natural because you're out in the heat every day. You're gonna lose a pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. Eventually, that catches up with you when you got to deal with somebody who's some linebacker that's 260, 250, rather than somebody who is at 242. It's just natural.
So just so everybody knows, Sunday's weather conditions look like 82 and partly rain. A chance for rain. So we'll definitely. It might be a wet Sunday in Miami.
Yeah. So when I look at that and I look at what are the strengths of the team. Okay, does Miami have the best running game in the world right now? No. When you in bad weather, especially rain, for Miami, you want to run the ball. You don't want to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. Now, Tua's not throwing the ball 40, 50 times, but short passing game or intermediate game, there's more risk involved than if you're running the ball. And yes, I know there's risk of fumbles, but there's more risk involved with a ball going awry because the quarterback's hand is wet, the receiver's hand is wet, tips it up, another interception. We could have one of those games that we had where, what was that, the Jacksonville game where there were like 9 turnovers in the game?
Yeah.
Or was that the Atlanta game? No, I think that was the Jacksonville game.
The 62-7?
No. I don't even want to talk about that game. I don't ever want to talk about that game, really. But I'm talking about the one this season where it was a game the Dolphins had this season where
Houston. It was Houston.
The Houston game where they had 9 turnovers.
Yep, it broke a record.
Yeah. So now you're setting up with the rain with the possibility of rain where you could have something like that.
And by the way, we don't know what our running back situation looks like this Sunday either.
Thank you. I've been beating this horse for about the last three weeks. Every time I look up and I see Jonathan Taylor doing something, or DeAndre Swift, or AJ Dillon, or
Jonathan Taylor is a monster, D-Dub. That kid is awesome.
Yeah, and you say to yourself, what would Tua be like if he had that type of running back on his team? That's when you can truly judge the RPO, when you got a quality, and I'm not trying to, you know what, I am trying to slight. Because Gaskin and Ahmed and Brown and Philip Lindsay and whoever else, Jared Dokes, they're not these type of backs. And the Dolphins had opportunities to get that type of back. But instead, we got Noah Iguodala. Instead, we got Austin Jackson. Instead, we got Jared Dokes. So
Alexander Diaz says Duke Johnson is starting. They confirmed it. I still think there's an opportunity for these guys to get played. Like, they just need 2 negative COVID tests in a 24-hour period.
I just want them next year to dedicate some real assets to getting a running back. Okay.
O-line, D-Dub. O-line. That's where it's at.
I know. I didn't say not the O-line either, but dedicate some real assets, a second-round pick, to a running back, a third-round pick, not a seventh-round pick.
Go out and get somebody who can make a difference. I get it. All right, let's. It's Throwback Thursday. It's one of my favorite days. So I went back and I started looking. What are some games? So it's 56 and 55 in one tie. So the Jets and the Dolphins have tied against each other one time, and it was October 4th, 1981 in the Orange Bowl in Miami. Okay? The game...
I was in high school. So you young whippersnappers. I was in high school.
Young whippersnappers. It was 28-28 was the final score. That day, the quarterback for the New York Jets was Richard Todd, and the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins that day, there was two of them, Don Strock and David Woodley. Don Strock went 18 of 29 for 279 yards and 2 touchdowns. And David Woodley had was 3 for 5 for 27 yards and took a sack on that. Real quick, talk about Don Strock and David Woodley.
So David Woodley was like a slower, less athletic Lamar Jackson.
He did take us to a Super Bowl, though.
Yes, he did, but he was more of a. Now you talk about a game manager. Shula was managing him, and he did. If he had more than one mistake on plays in the game, Don Strock was coming in. If they got behind by more than 10 points, Don Strock was coming in. And the fact that the score was 28-28 tells me the Dolphins had to come back in that game. Just because of the score and the fact that you said that both of them were in the game, that meant that
so
Dolphins were down in that game.
Dolphins scored 1 touchdown every quarter, and the Jets scored 14 in the first and 14 in the fourth. So you were wrong, D-Dub.
Wow. I'm surprised. The first time. But they needed offense. And when they needed offense, they went to Stroud.
M. Go said was he a Taysom Hill type of player? Woodley.
Yeah, more like that. And the thing is, although they had a Jim Jensen, who was a Swiss Army knife as well, I would say that Woodley was a Swiss Army knife because he could run, and he had I'll say it this way. He didn't have a rifle arm, but he could do certain things athletically that Strock couldn't do. But Strock was a gunslinger. Strock was like Frank Reich, who instant offense. You come in, he comes in the game, he's gonna electrify the team. That's why in that game against San Diego, he came in, electrified the team, and got him up from 24-7 down. He was in basketball. He would be like Vinnie Johnson or some 6-man off the bench who comes in instant offense. That's what John Strock was.
All right,
I'm still kind of mesmerized over the fact that the score went the way it was. I'm going to definitely look back at the film on that game.
All right, so rushing for the New York Jets that day, there was a lot of rushing attempts by different people.
What was the weather like in that game? That would also tell you.
I don't have weather here on that.
I'm driving, so I can't really look it up.
It doesn't. I don't see it. Not on the page that I look at on Pro Football Database.
What year was it? I mean, what month was it? That was December?
It was October 4th, 1981 in the Orange Bowl.
Well, it could have been raining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so rushing that day for the Jets was Freeman McNeil, Bruce Harper, Mike, I can't say that guy's last name. It starts with an A. Agnostic, I think. Kevin Long, Tom Newton, Scott Dirking, and Richard Todd were the running backs that day for the New York Jets.
Freeman McNeil was their number 1 draft pick out of UCLA. He was a very good back. I've mentioned it before. And Bruce Harper was more of an all-purpose back. He was very good out of the backfield catching passes. And was a good blocking back as far as blocking against the pass rush. So 2 very good names. And if I can see the name, and I can't blow the screen. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can. Let me see. Scott Durkin. Yeah, you said that right. And Mike Augustiniak.
Augustiniak.
Yes, I remember now. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So for the Miami Dolphins that day was Andra Franklin, David Woodley, Nick Giantio. I don't know how to say his last name. Tommy Vigatorio. Vigorito.
And Giaquinto.
Giaquinto and Steve Howe
Man,
and
see,
Don Stroud.
I'm from New York, so I'm from New York City.
You
so
got all these. You got all these Italian names on lock, my guy.
Yeah, all the different names, man. We're a melting pot in New York City, so we get to see all those names that got vowels, that end in vowels. You got to know how to pronounce them.
All right, receiving that day for the New York Jets: Wesley Welker, Bruce Harper, Kevin Long, Tom
Wesley
Newton.
Walker.
We've talked about him in detail on this show. Tom Newton, Jerome Barkham, Derek Gaffney, Bobby Jones, Mike Augustiniak, and Richard Todd all had receptions that day. Wesley Walker, 8 receptions for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns for the New York Jets that day.
He always was a hard matchup for the Dolphins. It didn't matter what cornerback was on him. He just was a great player for the Jets. Okay, that's one guy that I would say, I might snatch him on the team just because you know what, I'm tired of him beating us.
Yeah, he was that good.
And again, like I said, he was blind in one eye. So
that's always
Derek
crazy
Gaffney
when you
was
say
a pretty
that.
good. Yeah, Derek Gaffney, he was like Devon Bass or Jarvis Landry, good number 2 wide receiver, and Jerome Barkham, yes, big guy number. What number? I think he was 86, if I'm not mistaken, because he replaced. He used to be Rich Castor, and then Jerome Barkham became the number 1 tight end. Richard Todd, and I'm gonna go through some things. Richard Todd, Alabama quarterback. They thought that he was in line with Kenny Stabler, that was gonna have a great career. He ended up in a QB battle with Matt Robinson for a lot of seasons. There's always some angst over who was going to be the number 1 quarterback for the Jets. He never fulfilled his promise, but as a Dolphin fan, we're glad that he didn't. And the running backs out there, Tommy Vigorito, all-purpose back, was good on special teams as well. Pretty good hands. And Andra Franklin was a big back, number 34. I think he was out of Auburn. I know it was an SEC team, and pretty not an exciting runner, but more of a power back. And he was the number 1 guy. Shula always liked power running backs. You go back to Zarka and Norm Bulash and Don Nottingham. He always liked power backs. He liked speed too with Mercury Morris and Benny Malone, and Tony Nathan. But that was the time with Andra Franklin. He was the power back. Go ahead.
All right, so the Miami Dolphins that day, wide receiver Nat Moore, Tommy Vigorito, Darrell Harris, Bruce Hardy, Nick. Say it, Nick.
Duriel Harris. Harris.
No, starts with a G. Gianto.
No. Duriel Harris.
Duriel Harris. I'm sorry, D-Dub.
You got to say these names right so the fans know, bro.
Well, that's why you're here. That's why you're here, D-Dub. Nick.
I go back in the past, man.
Nick. Say what's his last name? Gianto.
Put it up on the screen so I can see.
All right, hold up.
Oh,
Giaquinto, and then the famous Joe Rose that day caught a pass for 9 yards.
Yeah, and you know what?
Nat Mar's receptions, 7 receptions for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Nat Moore, boy,
Nat
he
Moore
was
was a beast, son.
Was a beast, and you know what? Although people remember Paul Warfield, and although people remember O.J. McDuffie, and they remember uh, the Mark brothers, you know, people forget Nat Moore was a great receiver, and his clutch, had great hands, was a very, very good route runner. You know, unlike another 88 that we have right now, but good, good route runner and a classy guy, and is still exhibiting that class and excellence for the organization as we speak.
Yeah, man. And by the way, he can also drink the hell out of a bottle of wine. That man loves his wine.
He's classy.
Hey,
You're not going to see him with a bottle of Old Gold or Colt 45. You're going to see him with with something nice, something classy.
All right, let's go into the 90s. And let's take a look at a game in the 90s. We'll start in I'm trying to
go to 92, man.
92. All right, here we go.
92. I just
92, Joe Robbie Stadium, Miami Gardens. The Dolphins were 10-5. The New York Jets were 4-11. The Dolphins won 19-17. The quarterbacks that day for the Miami Dolphins were Dan Marino, and the New York Jets was Browning Nagel. Browning Nagel was 12 for 18 for 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend, was 15 of 30 for 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. You know what's funny? Going back in time, I see some of these stats of these quarterbacks. I'm like, man, if Tua, threw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, there would be mayhem. People would crucify Tua if he did that.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, it's a different time. There's a lot more instant gratification about what your expectations are now than it was back then. And you had a lot more leeway with respect to maybe not the greatest performance. That wasn't Dan Marino's best performance of his career. But you wasn't going to find anybody saying, oh, it's time. Time has passed him by.
Encyclopedia P-Dub. That's your new nickname, just so you know. People are saying
Encyclopedia Dub.
Encyclopedia Dub.
I got you.
Rushing for the New York Jets that day: Scotty Graham, A.J. Brown, Rob Moore, Browning Nagel, Brad Baxter, Terrence Mathis. For the Jets, the Dolphins that day: Mark Higgs, 17 attempts for 80 yards, Bobby Humphrey, and Dan Marino.
Stop right there. Okay. Although the big name out of that is Bobby Humphries, because he was an acquisition from Denver. To me, Mark Higgs was the size of Jakeem Grant at about 5'7". But you talk about a fire hydrant.
Oh, D-Dub, you broke up. The West Virginia signals got to you. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
You're there. You're back.
All right. So Mark Higgs, 5'7", but he was stout. I mean, solid, and he could leap. In a game against Buffalo, if you watch his goal line leaps, you're like, that's incredible, because he was jumping over the pile in that game.
He was jumping from the 5-yard line, 4-yard line.
He was jumping. Yeah, he was like leaping, like he was like Mighty Mouse, just fly, man. I like Marquez. He doesn't. I mean, he's not. He's not going to ever be a great, considered a great running back. But he had a lot of skills, a lot of talent, and a lot of heart. And he when asked, he did. He did. He would have got more. He would have got more play if A, Dolphins could have ran the ball more, and B, if the Dolphins could have figured out a way to beat Buffalo in critical games.
No doubt. New York Jets wide receivers that day: Chris Burkett, Mark Boyer, Freeman McNeil, Johnny Mitchell, Rob Moore, and A.B. Brown. The Miami Dolphins wide. Go ahead.
So Johnny Mitchell, there was a lot of hype about him. I've already talked about Freeman McNeil. A lot of hype about Johnny Mitchell, tight end. So they drafted him, I believe, first round. A lot of hype about him. Never fulfilled his hype, but I remember that name. So,
Miami Dolphins wide receivers that day: Tony Page, Fred Banks, Keith Jackson, Mark Clayton, Mark Duper, Mark Higgs, Bobby Humphrey, and Tony Martin. So they had Clayton, Duper, Martin, and Page wasn't bad either.
That's right. That's right.
Know?
And the fact that you said the name, but then in your next comment you didn't even mention Keith Jackson, who I think is he in the Hall of Fame? But he was a great tight end / wide receiver.
Caddyshack said Jackson was a beast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Keith Jackson was a beast. He had a great career, both with Philly and then with Miami.
Marino had 24 touchdowns and 16 interceptions in 1992.
And let me say this: if Tua had those stats, or if any quarterback had those stats,
we would crucify them.
If any quarterback had those stats, yes, they would be putting their feet to the fire.
100%. Dolphin Don said Keith Jackson was one of our best tight ends.
I would say he had good seasons. All right. I would say that maybe Randy McMichael and maybe Jim Mandich. I'm gonna go back to the old for the old OG. Jim Mandich and was pretty good. Joe Rose. You know, and the thing is, different eras. You know, you didn't throw the ball, but maybe
Troy Drayton.
2 or 3 times. Troy Drayton, another one. There's been a lot of good, talented.
Randy McMichael.
Yeah, I mentioned him. You know,
Mike
it's just a matter of
Mike Gesicki.
He's a wide receiver.
Thank you, D-Dub. I love you so much that you said that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
He's a wide receiver. Run along. Maybe he's got potential. You know, if we can see it on the field, if he ever gets on the field for more than just one reception.
Kickoff returns that day. Terrence Mathis, Eric McMillan for the Jets, and the Miami Dolphins had Bernie Parmalee returning kicks. Did his son play for us?
Bernie Parmalee. If you can find a game where the Dolphins beat the Jets 56-14, I think that. Look up on the list. But that game, Bernie Parmalee, oh man, I think he rushed for about 180 or 200 yards in that game. But Bernie Parmalee, a guy who wasn't drafted.
September 3rd, 1995 at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Dolphins won 52-14 that day.
52-14, yep. And the thing is, they were down 14-0 and then ran off the next. Oh goodness.
Yep. The New York Jets were up 14-0 in the second quarter.
Yep.
And then the Miami Dolphins proceeded to score 6 touchdowns in the next 2 quarters, the second and third quarter.
Yep.
So real quick, I think this is a great game. Great segue. Passing that day for the New York Jets: Boomer Esiason, 19 for 35, 173 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. All right. Bubby Brister and Richie Anderson both had a couple of attempts too. The Miami Dolphins that day, Dan Marino was 16 of 26, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And even Bernie Kosar had 3 passing attempts that day.
Yep. Now, thing is, Bubby, just so everybody knows, Bubby Brister, he was a quarterback. He was most famous for a shuttle pass that he tried to do in a game against the Carolina Panthers when the Carolina Panthers were having a terrible season. It was their only victory.
Terrible. It was terrible.
And he threw an interception on a shuttle pass. I mean, how many people do that in their careers?
Not a lot.
Just crazy. Quarterbacks for the Jets. And Boomer would not like to have.
How good was Boomer Esiason? Was he like the equivalent of Josh Allen?
His arm is probably, his accuracy is better than Josh Allen's. His arm may not be as strong, or wasn't as strong, and he didn't run as much. He wasn't as effective as a runner as Josh Allen. Boomer,
he's good. Here's what I know about Boomer. Boomer talks a lot of crap. Yeah. That's all I know about Boomer.
Yeah,
he's a good trash
Boomer has his opinions.
Yeah, and a lot of them are wrong.
Well, okay.
My opinion. Yeah. I'm not a big Boomer fan. I never liked listening to Boomer and Carton on WFAN. I was never a fan of the show. And Boomer's on the CBS noon team, if I'm correct. He's on CBS today. Or NFL Today on CBS. And I think he's got bad takes. I don't like his takes, you know. That's just me. I'm not hating on the man. I just think they're wrong.
He just happened to. I lost you. Oh, okay, I got you back.
So yeah, I'm here.
I'm up here in West Virginia. Yeah, I'm up here in West Virginia, so forgive me.
Out there in Boomer, West Virginia. Go ahead.
Yeah, Boomer. I would say if there was a scale of of how great he was, 1 to 10, and if you take all the quarterbacks, you just rate them like they're grouped in the 6, they're grouped in the 8, they're grouped in the 9. Boomer would probably be grouped in the 6.4 in my eyes. He got some stats, but
So rushing that day for the New York Jets, Adrian Morrell, Ronald Moore, Richie Anderson. For the Jets, the Dolphins, Bernie Parmalee, 16 attempts for 52 yards, 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. It was the 2 touchdowns that I remember.
Yep. Irving Spikes, 12 attempts for 49 yards and a touchdown. Terry Kirby, Bernie Kosar, and Keith Byers. Shout out to Keith.
Now, Terry Kirby, I think he was from Oklahoma. And after the Dolphins had lost David Overstreet in an incident where he drowned, I think David Overstreet was from Oklahoma or Oklahoma State as well. But
who's David Overstreet? Don't just glance over that. Who's David Overstreet and who was?
He was a running back
for the Dolphins.
For the Dolphins, and he was trying to save somebody who was drowning themselves, and he ended up drowning as well.
Man, and he was playing for the Dolphins when this happened.
Yes.
Wow.
If I remember. Let's see, but Adrian Morrell, okay running back. He was their number 1 running back at that time. The biggest thing about that game was that really was the beginning of the end, or the beginning of the end. It wasn't even the end of the beginning. It was the beginning of the end for Richie Kotite. Richie Kotite, the coach of the Jets at that time. They were going through a rough season, and the Dolphins helped ignite the fire on his eventual fire.
The New York Jets wide receivers that day, Adrian Morrell, Kyle Brady, Wayne Corbett. That's interesting that he was
little
there.
Engine that good, Wayne Corbett.
Was he a rookie that year? He had to have been not.
I don't know if he was a rookie that year, but
he was young that year.
Everybody knows about his.
If he wasn't a New York Jet, I would have been a big fan of his. I would have been a big fan of his if he wasn't a Jet.
Wayne Corbett is like Cole Beasley, like Wes Welker, like Julian Edelman. He was one of those guys that you looked at him and you said, "Nah, he ain't got
nothing." And next thing you know, you look at the score sheet after the game, you're like, "Man, this boy scorched us. What happened?"
He scorched, and you're like, "Damn, how did that happen? How did he get like 8 receptions for 80-some yards and a touchdown and critical third down catches? How does he do that?" And he's from Hofstra University, so that's basically my hometown in New York City. Anything that's like 80-mile radius in New York City, we claim as ours because we don't have a lot of Division I football teams in New York City. Besides Columbia, and Columbia at that time was Patooey. So he gets a little bit of props for just coming from Hofstra University.
Wayne Corbett, Brad Baxter, Charles Wilson, Johnny Mitchell, Ryan Yarborough, Richie Anderson, Ronald Moore, Tyrone Davis, and Dexter Carter all had receptions that day for the New York Jets. The Miami Dolphins.
They were throwing everybody out there. Anything that they was hoping.
They only had one receiving touchdown that day, and that was by Charles Wilson. That was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins that day. Irving Fryer, 5 receptions for 110 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Greatness.
Eric Green, O.J. McDuffie, shout out to Juice, Terry Kirby, Keith Byers, and Bernie Parmalee. And Keith Byers had a receiving touchdown that day too.
And Eric Green, another very good tight end, came from Pittsburgh. He was about 6'6", 6'7", about 260. He was a beast. That's why I say there's a lot of good tight ends that came through the door in Miami. They might not have stayed long, but they came through and they had an impact. Irving Fryer, one of the greatest wide receivers.
Hey, Alexander said David Overstreet passed in 1984 of a car crash.
Car crash, not a drowning. My bad. But I know it was a tragic accident that he took. And
Alexander, don't be calling out D-Dub. If he said it, it has to be true.
Nah. I got memories of things, and something, I'm not 100% perfect, but I know that his career ended tragic, and his life ended tragic.
All right, kickoff returns that day for whatchamacallit, is Dexter Carter, Ron Carpenter, Fred Baxter, and the Dolphins was O.J. McDuffie, Billy Miner, and Irving Spikes. And then punt returns were O.J. McDuffie and Dexter Carter. Go ahead.
So, just for all you fans that are and were calling for Jalen Waddle to return kicks and punts, there is precedent for number 1 wide receivers for the Dolphins to do that as well. Because O.J. McDuffie was a number 1 wide receiver for the Dolphins, and he did at times return punts and kicks. Just so you know, I'm not saying that they had the same speed, but obviously OJ McDuffie did at one time have a lot of speed and was considered a number one wide receiver and did play that role, but he also returned punts and kicks. So there is precedent for that to occur, although some people now may not want Jalen Waddle.
I would love Waddle to return kicks, but that's just me. People disagree with me on that. Kicking that day for the Miami Dolphins, Pete Stojakovic. 7 for 7 on PATs, 1 field goal. And then as far as defense is concerned that day, Troy Vincent had 2 interceptions for the Dolphins, and a pick 6 was one of them.
You know what? Troy Vincent, I think now is one of the big officers in the NFL Players Association or in the NFL.
He is.
Yeah, so, you know, quality rises to the top, baby.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right, let's find another game. Let's go to early 2000s. Here we go. 2002. September 22nd, 2002. The Miami Dolphins won 30-3.
I like the sound of that game.
The quarterbacks that day for the New York Jets were Vinny Testaverde, 14 of 25, 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Chad Pennington, 2 for 3 with 1 interception. The Miami Dolphins that day was Jay Fiedler. Rushing that day was Curtis Martin, 16 attempts for 43 yards, no touchdowns. Lamont Jordan, Santana Moss even had a rush, and Vinny Testaverde. The Miami Dolphins, Ricky Williams, 24 attempts for 151 yards and a touchdown. Travis Minor had a touchdown. Robert Edwards, James McKnight, Chris Chambers, and Jay Fiedler. And then the receivers that day, Wayne Corbett, Richie Anderson, Lavernius Coles, Lamont Jordan, Curtis Martin, Anthony Beck. Here's what I remember about Lavernius Coles. Lavernius Coles, if I'm correct, you correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be getting Santana Moss and him mixed up, but they both were on the same team for a while, right? Santana Moss and Lavernius Coles?
Yes.
Right? The Miami Dolphins that day, Randy McMichael, 5 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown. Chris Chambers, 33 yards. Dedrick Ward, Ricky Williams, Robert Edwards, Aronde Gatson had 1 reception for 23 yards. And Rob Conrad also had a reception that day too. So, I mean, look, some names that I remember growing up. Here.
So we've talked about Ron. We've talked about Randy McMichael. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you were breaking up. Roll up your window.
Hello?
Yep.
I got the windows rolled up.
Okay. It's loud. It's loud driving on the highway in West Virginia.
Well, those trucks are moving down these hills, man. But yeah, Randy McMichael, I think his number was 81, and another good tight end. Who was the wide receivers again?
Wide receiver Randy McMichael, Chris Chambers, Dedrick Ward, Ricky Williams, Robert Edwards, Aronde Gatson, and Rob Conrad. All had receptions. Dedrick Ward, yep.
So I think that he also played for the Jets as well at one time in his career. If you could look that up, if there's...
He did. Dedrick Ward played for 4 years for the New York Jets, 2 years for the Miami Dolphins, 1 year of 3 games with the Baltimore Ravens in 2003 and 4 games with the New England Patriots, and then played a season with Dallas in 2004.
So that's one of the few times that an ex-Jet actually did something for the Dolphins. Most of the time, ex-Jets don't end up doing much, even unless him and Chad Pennington were the only ones that I can remember that had an impactful career with the Dolphins when they previously played for the Jets. Great game by Ricky.
Big John, I see your $5 donation. Thank you. It's not that I don't love you, Big John. It's Throwback Thursday, and D-Dub is the co-host on Throwback Thursday. We don't do a big panel on Thursday, bro. I love you, Big John. Just know I love you. D-Dub, tell Big John that I love him.
Big John, Steven, he loves you. He loves you.
Thank you.
Don't take today's separation as a slight.
Separation as a slight. No slight here, bro. No slight.
Okay.
Dolphins, Albert Johnson, punt returned that day, and Santana Moss also had a punt return, speaking of Santana. Matt Turk was our punter, and Alindo Mare was our kicker. And the defense that day, we had... let's see here. Arturo Freeman, Derek Rogers, Jason Taylor, Brock Marion, Zach Thomas, Jamar Fletcher, Trent Gamble, Adwale Agunlie, Prince Adwale Agunlie.
You got that name right.
Hey, because he was true story. So I remember, again, I was the only Dolphins fan growing up where I lived in North Carolina. And so at this time, like, I remember, like, this is when, hey, D-Dub, I was a kid here, right? So this is 2003. So I was like freshman. I was either in 8th grade or 9th grade at this point. But I remember CBS doing a whole thing on Adwale Agunlie about him being royalty, that he was a prince, and where he's from, and that he played in the NFL. And I remember that being such a big thing. That I thought that was just so cool that he was a prince, and he played in the NFL. And so Adwale Agunlie was one of my favorite players on the Dolphins. He didn't play that long, if I remember. Actually, let me go. So Adwale Agunlie played 3 years for the Miami Dolphins. Played 3 years for the Dolphins, and then played 6 years with the Chicago Bears and 1 year with the Houston Texans. We'll wait for him to come back. Let me pull me up. There, are you back? Are you back? There you go.
Yes, I'm back. I missed about 98% of your Agunlie.
I was just saying that I was a big fan of Adwale Agunlie. He was one of my favorite players. I didn't realize he actually only played 3 years for the Dolphins. I thought it was longer than that. But he played, 2004 to 2009 with the Bears, and then played in his last year a little bit with the Houston Texans for 4 games. But Alexander was just saying that he was traded to Chicago for wide receiver Marty Booker. I remember that.
Yep.
I remember that trade. I remember being sad about that trade too. But yeah, Adwale Agunlie, Marlon Greenwood, Sam Madison, Sean Wooden, Tim Bowens, David Bowens.
When I think about the names that you're listing, and the Dolphins did not get to a Super Bowl with that defense, it irks me. It irks
that
me
defense
almost
was
as
amazing.
Much, it irks me almost as much as not getting to the Super Bowl with Marino and all the bad defenses. And then it went the exact opposite.
Could you imagine if this defense was 10 years earlier and had the opportunity to play with Marino?
Oh, they would have won 7 Super Bowls. And probably the only Super Bowl they might not have won would have been the one against San Francisco, because that team had 3 Hall of Famers on it when you think about Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, Joe Montana, and Russ Francis, and Dwight Clark, all on that team.
I mean, think about it. Let's break it down. So, Jason Taylor, Adwale Agunleye are pass rushing you, right? And then you have Zach Thomas in the middle. Who else do I see up here? Marlon Greenwood.
Yep. Sean Wood.
Sean Wooden. Brock Marion and Sean Wooden. I mean, Sam Madison.
Yep.
I mean, and then I'm not even, I'm still forgetting a couple people that I don't think were on this team, but might have been on the next year's team. I mean, that defense was amazing.
Yeah, I think that was 90. You're talking about 2000.
2002, 2003, 2004. Those games, like that defense was unbelievable. And I think Patrick Surtain, how could I forget Patrick Surtain?
Yeah. That defense was like defensive rock stars. Anybody could have been any one of them could have made a great play. It wasn't just where they were just expected to not only do their job, but anybody on that defense could have made a spectacular play to win a game. It wasn't just they were dependent on one person like Xavier Howard or Ogba. It was a plethora of people who made exceptional plays on a regular basis on those defenses.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, that's why Jay Fiedler, that's why he's the last quarterback to win a playoff game. Not because of him, because of the defense.
He's the best quarterback the Dolphins have had since Dan Marino.
I don't know. Tua's up there, bro. Tua's getting up there.
Tua's unproven just yet. He's still unproven. So up until he proves it and has at least a winning season,
D-Dub, Tua,
get a playoff game.
Tua's going to win a playoff game this year, bro.
From your lips to God's ears, I'll say it that way.
Tua's going to win a playoff game this year, bro.
I'm not going to put any pressure on the kid. The kid's QBR rating, the kid's QBR rating is climbing. I like that. And like I said, keep proving to me that the Dolphins were wrong for flirting with Deshaun Watson. Keep proving to me. Prove it to me. I'm not saying they were wrong, but he's got to prove it. Keep proving.
Look, I think a reality, D-Dub, if you're talking about this team right now, and look, so we'll kind of go into the last few years here. The last time the New York Jets won a back-to-back game was 2015, was the last time I think they swept us. And since 2016, they've only won 2 times. And the Dolphins have beaten them all the other times. So right now the Dolphins are in this era of owning the Jets. And I don't want to look past them, but I think any division rivalry plays you hard. Don't get me wrong. We've had some battles against the Jets.
Yep.
But I think that, I'll be honest, man, I think we're going to get this win on Sunday. I'm excited about it. I think that the Dolphins have everything they need in their arsenal, minus a decent offensive line. I'm really interested to see where these COVID cases go and how it'll affect the Dolphins.
Well, everybody's having that. Everybody's having a lot of. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. There are a lot of teams that are having to deal with COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Browns. They got Baker Mayfield is out.
Their head coach, everything.
Head coach, yeah. So this is the time where we're going to see. Hopefully, we'll see Jared Dokes and what's the other kid? Deuce Stamp. Deuce Jackson. What's the starting running back game for this game?
Why am I having a brain fart? I just said his name a little bit ago.
Yeah. So
Trucker Sean said I'm getting a shirt made up that says the reality is. I know that's my big saying. The reality is
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Duke Johnson.
But
Duke Johnson.
Duke Johnson, yeah. I was thinking Duke Staley. I don't know why, but that's another player from the past. Like Deuce McAllister as well.
Alexander Lubin says, big game tonight, Stephen. Yes, tonight is a big game. I think it's
it's the Raiders. The Raiders and the Raiders and the Browns.
No. Tonight is the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Oh, Chiefs and Chargers. Yeah, Chiefs and Chargers. Yeah, let's root for the Chiefs.
Yeah, we are definitely rooting for the Chiefs tonight. 100% we're rooting for the Chiefs tonight.
Yeah, let's root for the Chiefs. But we're gonna find out some questions about the depth of this team. You know, with respect to the running backs. What's going on? Why isn't Patrick Laird? Where's Patrick Laird? Did I miss something?
Patrick Laird, I think is on IR, right, guys? I think he's on IR.
I've been in South Carolina, and I haven't been as locked in as I normally am.
I'm pretty sure he's on IR right now.
Okay.
Injured reserve. Yeah, knee injury.
Okay. All right. So again, we're gonna find out about the depth and the quality of the acquisitions that the Dolphins staff does with Jackson and Jerry Douglas. We'll find out.
Hey, I see all of you who, there's so many people. I'm on Twitter. I just went back to Twitter. A lot of you retweeted today's link. Big shout outs to y'all for retweeting and sharing the link for today's show. That's awesome. There's a whole bunch of you that did it. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
Guys are the best fans in the world.
It's a good thing I never lie about where I'm at, because if so, more people will be catching me in a lie, because they got proof that I'm not where I'm at, where I said I'm supposed to be. But I don't lie about where I'm at, man.
Ooh, you know what happened 14 years ago today? Here, I'm going to take the sound off this, and I'm going to put this up there for you. This is 14 years ago today.
Oh yeah. Rich Camarillo, baby.
Greg Camarillo.
Yeah, I remember.
Greg Camarillo.
Yeah.
Dolphins in overtime where we were winless. I remember this. They came on to make the kick. The kick was wide left. Look at Brian Billick. I think he was fired a couple days later. Look at Cleo Lemon, baby. The original number 17. Greg Camarillo. I remember this, baby. I love it. All right, I don't want to get flagged. I'm going to take it down. But, man, that was... Boy, you would have thought we had just won the Super Bowl.
Hey.
You would have thought we had just won the Super Bowl.
Jason Taylor did not want to have on his resume on his career.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you see why. Now people see why the fans in Detroit were reacting so.
Cleo Lemon, 315 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
Wow.
Marty Book.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. 14 years ago today. Hey, if anybody ever sees Greg Camarillo out in life, buy that man a drink, because he deserves it.
That day, that's 14 years ago, I was still working I was still working, but I was actually on active duty for the Army, and I was like, I'm glad I am away in Iraq, because I don't have to get all the flack from my friends about the Dolphins being old. So I was away in Iraq then, but I saw that game at the cafeteria, mess hall, and there was about 5 of us Dolphin fans huddled up by the TV watching, and we just all like shouted for joy that the Dolphins had won, man.
You know what's crazy? That game being 14 years ago today makes me realize how long of a nightmare it's been of us losing. Like 14 years it's been since that. And it feels like we go through that a lot. Like, granted, we didn't go 1-15, but we've had a lot of mediocrity and losing seasons in between there and before there. And it's just
that's because number one, you draft a offensive lineman instead of a quarterback with that pick that you had, and then I can go through a litany of things. Why?
Timothy Zappa said we drafted Ted Ginn.
No, we drafted Long instead of Ryan. Should have drafted Matt Ryan instead of Jake Long.
I mean, look, we got 10 wins last year. It's plausible that we get 10 wins this year. I mean, back-to-back winning seasons for the Dolphins we have not seen in a long time, have we?
That's true. It's been since, 2002, 2003, 2004.
Since we've had back-to-back.
2001, 2002, 2003.
Was the last time we had back-to-back winning seasons?
The 2008 season when they won the division the following year, I believe we regressed under Soprano the next year.
We won 11-5, and by the way, the Patriots also won 11-5 that year and missed the playoffs at 11-5. And but that was the year that Matt Castle was the quarterback for them.
Yeah,
man. I just want to win. And look, I have to admit, being on this 5-game win streak, I'm very happy. I'm very excited. I think the team has a lot of opportunities to really move this team forward in the right direction. This weekend's going to be, how do you perform coming out of the bye week? You had, 2 weeks to kind of relax, take an opportunity to sit and relax, and now you need to come out with all cylinders clicking. So the hope is that these guys that are on the COVID list right now can get off of it and be in time for Saturday or Sunday.
Look, there's no excuse. Okay, you were home for the Giants. You're home for the Jets. You've been home for 3 weeks. I don't want to hear about anything other than a dub. That's what's expected. That's what's wanted. That's what's needed. Get the dub. Get it. Because if you don't get this dub, I don't want to hear anything else about playoffs. You got to get this dub.
Bro, we're going to win. We're going to win.
No, get the dub. Get the dub.
We're going to win.
And the division rival, get the dub. Get
We're going to win, and then we got
no excuses.
Then we got Monday Night Football, which is going to be...
And you got to get that dub, too, because there's no reason why you should lose to Taysom Hill. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
there's no reason.
I agree. Look, I said this was my prediction.
The biggest obstacle on this schedule is not New England.
It's Tennessee. Tennessee. I agree. I think
because they get Derrick Henry back, and we're getting AJ, getting Brown and their other offensive weapons back. That's formidable. That's the formidable team. And their defense is playing better as well. Listen, there's no excuse not to get the dubs against the Jets and the Saints.
Alexander Lubin said you need to trademark that. Get the dub by D-Dub.
Get the dub. Get the dub. That's right.
Alexander says Henry is not expected to play in the game. We'll see. It's 2 weeks away.
We'll see. That's right. He's got a lot of treatments, a lot of legal massage therapy that he might get. Who knows?
You are too much, bro. I can't with you, man. I can't. Hey,
I got to say things the correct way, man. I got my son here. I got to say things the right way.
Before we wrap up, let me ask, is there anything final you want to say about Throwback Thursday, about the rivalry with the Jets and just, the hatred? I tell people all the time, I respect the Bills because I feel like Kelly and Marino were always cordial to each other. So I hated them when they won, don't get me wrong, but it was like Marino and Kelly like each other. I got to respect them, right? And I hate the Patriots because they cheat, they win, and I just can't stand how great Belichick is, even though, look, he's a cheater, basically, right? He is. But I've always hated the Jets. I have always hated the Jets. I feel like the Jets for me is, I hate them.
Listen. I am from New York City. I'm from the Bronx. Do you know how much grief I would have to endure whenever the Dolphins lost to the Jets? Of course, this is the biggest heated rivalry for me, personally, as a Dolphin fan. And I know we got angst and anger against the Colts. We got angst and anger against the Raiders. We got angst and anger against the Steelers. We got angst and anger against the Cowgirls. We got angst and anger against the Patriots. But for me, if the Dolphins must beat the Jets every year, and to beat them, I don't care if it's by 1 or 53, as long as the dub is gotten, I am happy.
I agree.
I am happy. One of the things about that 1-15 season was that they got swept by the Jets, and I hated that. Because I'm a New Yorker, and as far as being a Dolphin fan, I was in enemy territory. I was proud to be in enemy territory, so it was extra juice when the Dolphins beat the Jets because I got to walk around with my Dolphin hat or my Dolphin jacket and talk smack to all those Jet fans from Long Island, from the Bronx, from Manhattan, from Brooklyn, Queens, Jersey. Wherever I went, I could talk smack. So that's why, in my opinion, Dolphins and Jet rivalry is the most bitter of all the AFC East teams. And I will include the Colts in that because they used to be in the AFC East, and it was a hard loss this year to lose to the Colts. But losing to the Jets, that would burn, especially when we need it. And there's been times that the Jets have gone down to Miami with playoff ramifications and unfortunately have lost. So you got to get this done. You got to get it.
100%. This is what I'll say, man. I love Throwback Thursdays, doing the show with you. I think it's one of my favorite shows of the week. It is probably my favorite show of the week because I feel like you are an encyclopedia, Dub, and you're just so knowledgeable and you just know all this stuff, and you sir are so wise, and I am honored to learn from you, young sensei, Mr. Sensei. I'm your young Padawan.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. You allow me to wet my beak in your massive beaker. Thank you very much.
That just sounded weird, D-Dub. I can't do that one. No.
Okay.
No, don't. Okay. Talking about wet beak in my beaker. No, man. No, we're not gonna say that.
That's an old saying. That's what.
Well, look, it's gonna have to stay old. That's what it's.
It's an old saying. You gotta let me wet my beak.
Look, man. Hey, where can people find you on social media, man?
Oh man. I'm on the Twitter thing right now. SFC Griot.
You need to change your name to D-Dub on Twitter.
Well, I'm there. It's like that as well, but I got so many things going on with the family that I haven't really been able to focus on the YouTube channel. And every time that I've gotten the time, then something else pops up. So that's why I appreciate the time that you give me to keep me relevant, keep me out there known.
You're always
But
here,
I'm
bro.
gonna, I really am trying. Like I gotta go back to Ohio. I'm on my way back to Ohio, and in 2 days I gotta turn around and go back to South Carolina. So, you know.
Well, look, man, I'm
thank you
praying.
for
I'm
your
praying
time,
for
man.
you and your family, man. I know you're going through a lot of medical issues with your parents, right? And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. I got you in my prayers, man. Your whole family's in my prayers. Tell your son he's in my prayers. And I appreciate him driving so that you could be my co-host today.
Yeah, man. And you think my voice is deep? You got to hear his voice. I'm not gonna put him on. I'm not gonna put him on. I want him to focus on driving. I want him to focus on driving. But
Well, tell him he's
got one of
welcome on the
those.
show every time, man. He's welcome on the show anytime.
He got one of those voices that would make articles of clothing drop off. I say that.
He's like, yeah, that's my son. That's my son. That's my son.
Yeah. That's my boy. My boy.
Oh, all right, D-Dub, give it to me one time, man. You know what I want, man. Give me the chant.
Go Dolphins! Go Dolphins! Go Dolphins! Go Dolphins! Go Dolphins, baby! Get that dub!
I love you, brother. Be good, man.
Later.
Oh, man. Throwback Thursday with the one and only D-Dub. It is probably my favorite show of the week, man. I love doing it. It is awesome. It's going to be really, really, it's always a good time, man. He's just so knowledgeable and just, he'll come out of nowhere talking, like, he'll just know the randomest names and the randomest things. And yeah, man. So shout out to D-Dub. I love doing the show with you. It's always a fun show. So, hey, look, I hope you all enjoyed the show today. No panel today. It was Throwback Thursday. I had to do it with my man D-Dub. But tomorrow we're going to have a panel. We're going to have a fun time tomorrow on Spread Kindness Friday. I'm not going to be in Miami or in Oakland Park. I fly out first thing Saturday morning. I don't know what I'm doing. I know I'll be with Solo all day Saturday, just hanging out, chilling. Probably watching some bowl games. Maybe go to bow campers. I don't know. We're just going to hang out. It'll just be and the boy. I'm excited to hang out with my friend. Now, I do want to say this, okay? Non-football talk real quick. Look at me. I don't want any spoilers about this new Spider-Man movie. Okay? Stay away from my inbox. Stay away from my timeline. I don't want no spoilers about the Spider-Man movie. Okay? I'm not playing. And I'm really talking to you, Estefan, because I know how you are. No spoilers about this movie, man. None. Okay? And it's a big movie. I don't want to hear. I'm like considering going to the movies today just so I can be like, I ain't got to worry about hearing spoilers from anybody. Okay? I'm serious. I'm not playing with y'all. Promoted, it says promoted by Spider-Man No Way Home says no spoilers. Okay? No spoilers. Not playing with y'all. I hope y'all had a good time on the show today. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. If you guys want to be able to donate, there's the preferred way is obviously through Cash App and PayPal. But look, YouTube is also here too, because I know it's so easy for you guys to do it right on YouTube. Here is the link to Cash App and PayPal. It is in the everything. See, Caddyshack. See, this is what I'm talking about, Caddyshack. And I know you just messing. But see, I can't be messing with y'all. Can't be messing with y'all. Yeah, so by the way, that's the link if you want to donate to the channel. MSM Podcast Network PayPal and $ MSM Podcast Network on Cash App. I love y'all. Y'all are the best fans in the world. I know I say that all the time, but I really mean it. I'm not just saying it. I really mean what I say. All right, let's have a good time. Tomorrow's going to be Spread Kindness Friday. I want to fill in these last 10 slots tomorrow as well as raise some money for the channel. So let's go. Let's have a good time. Let's do it. Let's enjoy it. And yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen. So I love y'all. Y'all be good. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. This is Miami Sports Music Podcast Network, the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clack Blackers. And I will see y'all tomorrow, 8 a.m. right here on Spread Kindness Friday. Peace.